Good morning, tribe. Welcome to today's Hatha class. My name is Shonda, and I'll be guiding you through your practice today. So grab your mats, blocks, or props if you have them, and your water, and let's get started right away today. Excuse me. Let's start to come to the top of our mat. Let's lift up on our toes. Spread the toes nice and wide out on the mat. Feel the feet pressing into the mat with all edges and the surface of your foot pressing into the mat and away from the mat. Really, I want you to focus on the big toe. So we're going to kind of work on making a focus on the big toe, strengthening the toes, the ankles, the feet today. So press as if you're like pressing a button with the toes, the big toe, the fleshy part of the toe. And then feel all the other parts of the feet making connection with the surface below you. Roll the shoulders down the back. Engage the quadriceps. Allow the tailbone to sink down to the mat. Drawing the navel up and inward. Shoulders relaxing down the sides. Crown of the head is lifting, slightly tucking the chin in. Inhale, draw the arms up and above the head. Maybe draw the hands together, maybe a tiny back bend here. Exhale, folding forward. Shift the weight from the back, moving up towards the big toes. So again, just focusing on those big toes pressing in, like as if you're pressing a button, not clenching or gripping the mat, rather gently pressing into the big toes. Good. Inhale, lifting up halfway, shoulders draw down and away from the ears, crown of the head points forward. Exhale, fold forward once again. Keeping the bones nice and stacked so we're not overextending the hamstrings. You can keep a slight bend into the knee. Good. Inhale, draw the arms up and above the head. Again, palms meet together. And a slight back bend here, keeping the quadriceps engaged. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lifting up Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Press the right toe into the mat and step that left foot back, coming into your runner's lunge. So finding your runner's lunge here, maybe finding a little bit of movement and fluidity. So maybe bouncing a bit. Try to keep your focus on pressing that big toe into the mat. And maybe just rock forward and back. Fingertips are meeting the mat. And just a nice stretch throughout the legs here. So once you've found that nice, even balance between the front and the back foot, place the palms of the hands onto the mat. Let's draw that right hand on the inside of the right foot. Keep the knee hugging inward and inhale, opening up, coming into a slight gentle twist. Good. Keep focusing on the big toes and the ankles. Take your breath in and out here. Good. Release that left hand down. Place the left hand on the inside of the right foot. We'll open up to the opposite side. So drawing that right arm up and above the head. Or out to the side, rather. Keep pressing into that big toe without gripping the mat. Changing the alignment of that big toe can really change the alignment of your entire posture, strengthening the toes, creating some nice even stability and strength within the feet. Good. Releasing the hands down, framing the foot. Let's step that right foot back to meet the left. Coming into top of a push-up or plank position. Spread the fingertips nice and wide. And again, pressing through the big toes into the mat. Stay nice and strong here. Lift up and out of the wrist joints. Press firmly into the mat with the feet, the toes, and the hands. Good. Shifting yourself forward, keeping the arms in line, elbows hugging in, and shifting your way down onto the mat. Allow the tops of the feet and toes to meet the mat, keeping the hands directly below the shoulders. So keep pressing into the top of the mat with the tops of the feet and all 10 toes you feel into the mat. Keep the shoulders hugging together, the elbows hugging together. Let's inhale, coming up for Cobra. Nice deep yogic breathing here. Couple more breaths. Good, release the forehead down to the mat. Press firmly into the mat with the hands. Engage the core, step the hips back to the heels. Finding child's pose. This is a great stretch for the ankles. Keep pressing the tops of the toes and the feet and the ankles into the mat here. Breathing into the low back, allowing the hips to widen and settle. Good, inhale, press into the mat with the hands, engaging the core, coming up through tabletop position. Let's tuck the toes and shift the hips back towards the heels. So we're going to stretch out the backs of the toes. Try to keep the ankles hugging inward together rather than splaying out to the side. So again, we're going to press into the big toes into the mat. Perhaps shaking the hips from side to side. And even maybe moving that little toe out into the side. Good, as you press firmly into the mat with the hands and the feet, begin to straighten into the knees, lift the knees up off the mat, coming into your downward facing dog. So you can feel free to keep the knees bent here as we warm up. Perhaps you bend into the right knee and the left. Again, maybe stretching out and strengthening the backs of the ankles, calves, the thighs. Maybe you rock forward onto the hands, gently tippy-toe the feet up a bit. Keep the bend in the knees, soften the ankles and feet down towards the mat. Keep the low belly hugging up and inward. So the heels don't have to meet the mat just yet, okay? So inhale, coming up onto the toes, and let's shift the weight and the heels over to the right side, opening up the left side of the leg. Good, inhale, coming back to center, lifting up, rocking forward on the toes, and then sinking the heels over to the left, opening up the right leg, right side of the right leg. Few breaths in and out here. Good, inhale, coming back to center. Again, allow the heels to soften down towards the mat. Perhaps the knees start to straighten a little more. Paddling out the feet. Let's inhale, looking up at the top of the mat. And walk yourself forward. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Remember the big toes here. So gently press the big toes into the mat as if you're pressing a button gently with the toes. Allow the bones to stack in a nice, long, lengthening format. You can release the tops of the hands to the mat. Keep stretching through the backs of the legs and the heels. And again, you can have a slight bend into the knees. Good, release the tops of the hands to the mat. From here, inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, draw the arms up and above the head. Hands meet, prayer position, slight back bend, engaging the quadriceps, shining the hip bones forward, engaging the core. Exhale, hands come down to heart center, Pranayama. Inhale, arms look up as the hands meet. Exhale, hinging at the hips and folding forward. Good. This time, releasing the tips of the fingers to the mat. Step that right foot back. Coming into your runner's lunge again. Find some movement here. Maybe you rotate the ankles a bit. The one thing that's pretty important is to try to keep the ankle in line with the knee so that we have this nice 90-degree angle with the knee. Because if you overextend for too long, it's going to affect the knee joint. So maybe it feels nice to make a few bounces. Remembering that big toe, gently pressing into the mat without gripping. Okay, so once you find that space that feels good, coming to stillness for a few breaths, let's draw the left hand on the inside of the left foot. Keep hugging the knee in towards the elbow or the shoulder, in towards the shoulder. Inhale, draw the right arm up. Keep pressing the right toe into the mat, left toe into the mat. Find your breathing. Good. Release the right arm down. Bring the left hand on the outside of the left foot and place the right hand on the inside of the left foot. Good. Inhale, draw the left arm up. Keep hugging that left knee inward. Good. Releasing the left arm down. Step. Bring both hands to frame the foot. Step that left foot back to meet the right. Let's make our way into downward facing dog. Again, pressing into the fingertips and the fleshy part of the toes. Stretching out the backs of the legs. Draw the core up and in, really reaching the tailbone nice and tall. Allow space to be created between each vertebrae, lengthening the back. Crown of the head is softening down, shifting down towards the mat. Try not to collapse in the shoulders, rather draw the shoulders wide across the back. And press firmly into the mat with the hands, but try to shift the weight back towards the legs and the feet. Good, nice, strong stability. Lengthen both side bodies. Looking at the top of the mat, let's shift our weight forward, coming into top of a push-up plank position. Try to keep the knees drawn in together, toes pressing into the mat. Shift your weight forward onto the toes and gently lower yourself down. You can bring the knees, chest and chin, elbows hug in. Release the tops, the ankles and the feet to the mat. Keep hugging the shoulders together so you can either be here in Cobra. Nice deep breaths in and out here. Or you can press into the mat with the palms of the hands. Keep the shoulders in place and coming up for up dog or extended cobra. I've been out of my personal practice for a few days, so I'm really feeling it in my body today. Good. Sit the hips back to the heels. And making our way into child's pose. Let's find our breath here. Good, inhale, looking up at the top of the mat, spread the fingertips, come into tabletop position. Tuck the toes, and lift the hips back and up for downward facing dog. Maybe find a slight gentle wiggle here. Finding 5 breaths in and out, nice deep yogic breathing. Navel to nostril, nostril to navel. Keep pressing the mat away from you with the hands as you shift the weight towards the legs. Keeping the quadriceps engaged, allowing the hips to lengthen and widen, creating space in the low back sacrum area. Keeping the shoulders plugged into the shoulder sockets, lifting the ribs. Good, look up at the top of the mat. Let's begin to walk the feet forward. Inhale, coming into Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, arms come up above the head. Hands meet at prayer. Press the big toes into the mat. Hips shine forward, slight back bend here. Tummy is engaged. Inhale, hands come down through the third eye and meet at heart center. Beautiful. Let's place the hands onto the hips. We'll step that left foot back and make our way out to the wide edge of the mat here. Okay? So again, let's point the toes out towards the outer edges of the mat. Keep pressing into the mat with the big toe, the pad of the big toe, the fleshy part. So find this nice width here if that feels good for you. You can either have the hands together at heart center or on the hips, and we're going to start to lower ourselves down. So coming down through goddess, and then making your way into garland pose. And you can come here as slowly or as quickly as you'd like. I'm really feeling into it today. So keep the elbows pressing in to the knees, knees pressing into the elbows. So here we're going to strengthen the ankles and the feet. If your heels don't quite touch the mat, that's okay. We'll work our way into it. Again, try to focus. Like I notice my toes and my feet are kind of shifting forward. So we want to try to lift back, opening up the chest and the heart. Try to open the knees out nice and wide. And allow the tailbone to shift down towards the mat. Find your breath. Maybe a gentle smile on the face. Lift through the chest and the heart, the crown of the head. Few more breaths, you've got this. Good, let's release the hands down to the mat and start to straighten into the knees. Finding yourself in a wide-legged forward fold. Perhaps your toes point inward. Maybe even a little pigeon toe action. Shift the weight forward, really lengthening the backs of the legs. Keeping chaturanga arms here. Making sure that the fingertips are spread wide, elbows are hugging in. Crown of the head reaching towards the floor. Feel free to adjust the legs to what feels good for you. If headstands in your practice and you feel warmed up enough, I know this is a short practice, feel free to take that transition. Otherwise, continue to breathe. Press into the mat with the pads of the toes. Keeping the legs nice and engaged, core nice and engaged here. Good. Inhale, let's come up onto the fingertips, coming up halfway, shoulders draw down the back. Place the hands onto the mat and let's heel toe the feet back in. Taking our feet about hip distance apart. Inhale, lifting up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, press both feet and the toes into the mat. Inhale, draw the arms up above the head. Gaze is up. Toes pressing in, fleshy part of the toes, quadriceps engaged, core engaged, maybe a slight back bend here. Moving back to center, hands come through heart center, finding Parkasana. Let's bring the hands to the hips one more time. We're going to make our way into tree position. So this is another great posture, not necessarily for the toes, but definitely for the ankles and balancing on one foot or one leg. I'm going to have to start a little bit different here. So grounding down into that left foot, again, finding the big toe really pressing into the mat without gripping it. Draw that right knee upward. Let's hug the right shin in just a bit. Keep that toe flexed without, so for me, I tend to hyperextend. So we want to flex the toes without really overextending. Draw that knee in and feel the strength building in that left foot. So we're hugging and zipping everything up and inward. Good. I kind of fell out, so that's okay. Find your strength here. And then release that right leg down. Maybe walking it out, stepping it out. This time finding the weight and the stability into the right foot. So really hugging everything in. We want a nice strong foundation in that right leg. So maybe you bring the left toes to the mat and then begin to draw that left knee up. Interlacing the fingers just below the knee. Again, drawing the core and navel up and in. Crown of the head is reaching, strengthening, feel nice and strong in that right foot. Now, if you do need a wall or a chair for this balancing piece, please utilize that. Good. Release the clasp of the fingertips. Allow that left knee and left foot to fall down. Let's shake the feet out just a bit. Maybe you rotate the ankles here. And we'll make our way into Parkasana or tree pose. So from here, you want to find a drishti point. Again, placing all the all the weight and strength into that right leg. Actually opposite leg. So pressing all the strength and weight into that left leg, keeping that left leg nice and engaged. Start to lift up onto the toes of the right foot. Perhaps even here you find that the foot meets the outside of the ankle and you start to open up that right knee outward. So your tree could even be here as we work on the strength and stability balancing of the tree pose. Keep the core engaged. And if it feels good for you, you can always bring the foot up to the calf. We want to really try to open up and extend through that right foot. But you're also pressing this left leg into the right and right into the left. Okay, and if you feel like it's you want a little bit deeper of a stretch, I would invite you, even if half lotus is in your practice, to try to just take this variation today, because we're working on the toes, ankles, strength here. So what we'll find here is this: if we're pressing that left big toe into the mat, you see, if you focus on that left toe, how maybe it widens the foot, makes the foot in a little bit more alignment. We're also hugging that left leg in, pressing the left leg into the right foot, but also the right foot into the left leg. Let's find a drishti point. If you feel like you want to grow your branches, feel free to do so now. You can take any variation. You could bring the index finger to the thumb for concentration. You can bring the hands together, prayer position. I like to do lotus mudra. Good, and bring the hands down through heart center. Gently draw that right knee inward. Shake it out and release. So maybe twisting out that left ankle. We did nice, strong strengthening in the toes, the ankles, and the feet there. Moving on to the opposite side. We'll start to press firmly into that right foot. Again, feeling the alignment, pressing that fleshy part of the big toe into the mat. So finding your hand placement where it feels good for you. So perhaps the hands at the hips. Start to shift the weight and the strength, stability into that right leg this time. Perhaps the foot starts to meet the inner part of the ankle, and we open that left knee up to the side. So maybe your tree is here today. And that's okay too. We're still feeling the alignment, feeling that fleshy part of the toe meet the mat. If you'd like to take this one step further, you can place the inner sole of the left foot onto the right calf, definitely not the knee joint. So you can also draw the shoulders down and away, engaging the navel, and perhaps you take it a step further and bring that left foot to the inner part of the right thigh. Really find some resistance here. So pressing nice and strong with that right leg, nice, strong, and sturdy as you also press the left foot in. So this is a good posture to strengthen the toes, the ankles, finding some nice strength, stability here, balance even. And I notice I'm gripping the mat with my right toe, so let's try to soften that. Spread the big toe nice and wide. Good, again, if it feels good to grow your branches here, feel free to do so. Taking any variation that feels good for you. Great focus. Then we start to sway a little bit. Maybe bringing the hands down, shifting that left knee forward, rotating in the ankle, and let's really shake it off. We're making this quite a quick practice today, so this is where we're going to end for the most part. Make your way to the top of the mat. We'll inhale the arms up and above the head. Exhale, folding forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lifting up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, folding forward. Step both feet back to the back of the mat. Release the knees, chest and chin down. Inhale, we'll just do a little mini flow here. Cobra or up dog. Exhale, set the hips back to the heels. Inhale, coming up through tabletop, and let's make our way onto our back bodies. The knees can stay lifted up towards the ceiling, soles of the feet pressed into the mat. Again, finding that nice balance. So not gripping the mat with the feet, rather spreading them nice and wide, finding some alignment within the feet, pressing into the mat with the big toe. Allow the small of the back to soften and sink heavy down into the mat. Hands are alongside the body, pressing into the mat. And you gently shake the head to the left and to the right. Draw the knees into the chest. Perhaps rocking side to side. And then releasing the legs nice and long out on the mat. Ankles soften, feet fall out to the left and to the right, shoulders tuck underneath the back. Making your way into your final pose for today. Shavasana. You did a great job focusing on the toes, the strength of the ankles. If you keep this practice kind of in your back pocket, using it maybe a couple times a week, maybe you can share with us any results that you have had. Softening the facial features and remaining in this posture, Shavasana. Corpse pose. Remaining open and receptive. And feel free to remain here for up to 11 minutes or even longer if that feels good. Honoring yourself, your body, sending some gratitude for your practice today. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us in your practice today, and we look forward to seeing you next time, Tribe. Have a great Friday and the rest of your weekend. Namaste.